The news broke suddenly, and it spread faster than anyone could have imagined. Charlie Kirk, one of the most recognizable young conservative voices in America, is dead. At just 31 years old, he was shot at a political event, and within hours, the news was dominating headlines in the United States, the United Kingdom, and far beyond. For some, he was a champion of free speech, a patriot, and a fearless activist. For others, he was a controversial figure who thrived on polarization. But no matter where you stand, his death has left a void in political life that cannot be ignored. In this documentary, we will explain who Charlie Kirk was, what exactly happened on that tragic day, the reactions from leaders and ordinary citizens, and why this moment matters for both American and international politics. Charlie Kirk was born in 1993 in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in a middle-class family, not particularly political, but deeply rooted in traditional values. His interest in politics began in his teenage years when he started writing articles about conservative viewpoints and volunteering for local campaigns. Unlike many who entered politics through elite universities, Kirk chose a different route. He skipped a traditional college path and instead focused on building a movement from the ground up. In 2012, at just 18 years old, Kirk founded Turning Point USA. The mission of the organization was simple but ambitious, to promote conservative principles among America's youth, especially on college campuses that were often dominated by progressive voices. Turning Point USA quickly expanded into one of the most visible conservative youth organizations in the country, holding rallies, training young activists, and connecting them directly with Republican leaders. Kirk's rise was rapid. By his early 20s, he was appearing regularly on national media, writing books, and building a massive online following. His message was clear. America needed to return to strong conservative values, embrace capitalism, and reject what he saw as the failures of left-wing politics. His critics accused him of oversimplifying debates and spreading misinformation, but his supporters admired his confidence and clarity. A key part of Kirk's political rise was his relationship with Donald Trump. During Trump's presidency, Kirk became one of his loudest defenders. He frequently appeared at Trump rallies, praised his policies, and defended him against critics. Many saw Kirk as part of the next generation of Trump loyalists, someone who could keep the conservative movement alive for decades to come. The tragedy happened during what was supposed to be an ordinary political event. Kirk was scheduled to deliver a speech addressing a crowd of supporters about the future of conservatism and the upcoming elections. Eyewitnesses recall the evening starting normally. The stage was set, the audience was engaged, and security seemed in place. Then, suddenly, chaos. Shots were fired. Screams filled the air as people scrambled for safety. In the confusion, it became clear that Charlie Kirk had been hit. Emergency medical teams rushed to his side, and he was quickly transported to a nearby hospital. Social media immediately lit up with unverified reports, rumors, and speculation. Some claimed he was alive but in critical condition, others feared the worst. Within hours, officials confirmed what many were dreading: Charlie Kirk had died from his injuries. Law enforcement officials released early statements confirming the shooting and announcing that investigations were underway. The shooter's identity, background, and motive are still under investigation. The FBI has joined local police in gathering evidence, reviewing surveillance footage, and questioning witnesses. Officials have warned against spreading misinformation, but the online space was already filled with theories and debates. The reactions were immediate and overwhelming. Former President Donald Trump issued a statement calling Charlie Kirk a true patriot and one of the strongest voices for America's future. He described Kirk as a loyal friend and a fighter who never backed down. Republican leaders across the country echoed these sentiments. Senators, governors, and members of Congress took to social media to express their grief and highlight Kirk's role in energizing a new generation of conservatives. Many of them framed the incident as an attack not only on Kirk but on the conservative movement itself. Democrats also responded. While acknowledging Kirk's controversial legacy, leaders from the Democratic Party emphasized that political violence must be condemned without hesitation. Some used the moment to stress the urgent need for addressing gun violence and improving security at political events. In the United Kingdom, political leaders also reacted. Members of Parliament expressed shock at the killing of such a young and high-profile figure. News outlets like the BBC, Sky News, and The Guardian gave significant coverage to the story, focusing on both Kirk's influence and the broader issues of political violence. On social media, the news dominated timelines. Twitter, now X, saw hashtags like Rip Charlie Kirk and Justice for Charlie trending for hours. TikTok users posted old clips of Kirk's speeches, tributes, and commentary. On YouTube, videos analyzing his life and his sudden death started gaining millions of views. Charlie Kirk's death creates a major vacuum in the conservative movement. He was not simply another activist or commentator. He had become a bridge between older conservative leaders and the youth who were often disengaged from traditional politics. His speeches, his campus tour, and his online presence made him a figure who could inspire loyalty among younger voters in ways few others could. With Kirk gone, the Republican Party faces pressing questions: who will fill the void? Can Turning Point USA continue to grow without its founder's leadership? Some analysts believe Kirk's death could turn him into a martyr figure, strengthening the conservative base and making his movement more resilient. Others argue that his personal charisma and relentless drive cannot be replaced, and without him, the momentum could stall. The timing of his death also matters. With elections approaching, Republicans had been relying on strong turnout among young conservatives. Kirk's absence may change strategies, messaging, and even the emotional energy within the movement. Democrats, meanwhile, may find new opportunities to appeal to undecided youth, though the tragedy could also unify conservatives in ways that benefit Republicans politically. In the UK, coverage has focused less on Kirk's specific political positions and more on the broader issue of political violence. Commentators have drawn comparisons to their own political climate, noting that while gun attacks are far less common in the UK, hostility toward politicians has been rising. Some journalists have recalled the 2016 killing of MP Joe Cox and the 2021 stabbing of MP David Ames 8661, highlighting that threats to public figures are a global issue. International press outlets from Europe to Asia have described the shooting as another example of the risks faced by public figures in deeply divided societies. For many, Charlie Kirk's death is not just an American tragedy, but a warning sign of growing instability in democratic politics worldwide. The most immediate debate in the United States has been about gun laws. Once again, Democrats are calling for tighter regulations, background checks, and restrictions on firearms at political events. Republicans, however, argue that the solution is more protection, not fewer guns. They emphasize the need for stronger security for public figures and increased vigilance at rallies. Beyond the gun debate, Kirk's death raises difficult questions. How can societies reduce political polarization? How do leaders keep public discourse alive without fueling hostility? And what responsibility does the media have in framing divisive figures like Charlie Kirk? These questions will not be answered overnight, but they will continue to shape political conversations in the weeks and months ahead. Charlie Kirk's story is one of ambition, influence, and controversy. His rise from a young activist to one of the most prominent conservative voices in America was remarkable. His sudden death, however, is a tragedy that has sent shockwaves through politics not only in the United States but also in the United Kingdom and beyond. Whether you admired him or disagreed with him, Charlie Kirk's impact cannot be denied. His legacy will continue to be debated, and the consequences of his death will unfold for years to come. This has been an in-depth look at Charlie Kirk's life, his tragic end, and the questions his death has left behind. Stay tuned for our next video, where we continue to explore the stories shaping our world.